So I've got one of the fireplace kits from Richard at 42 Fab. This is the dodecahedron globe kit, and I'm going to start prepping it for welding by knocking the mill scale off all the edges and cleaning it up a little bit, just so I can get the best practice on good clean welds. And I don't have a fancy mag chuck, so I've got some just ceramic magnets, and I'm going to use those to help hold the parts down. Okay, so I've got all the edges of the pieces prepped and the mill scale ground off inside and out. I've got these laid out for the bottom half of the globe, and this is just copper pipe that I've hammered flat. I'm going to use those as spacers so that my joint will not end up with let's see, I don't want to end up with this flush on the bottom. It'll throw everything off. I want just the two inside corners to touch, and then I can do a fillet weld on the outside. So that's what these copper spacers are for. They will allow me to just get the inside edges to touch and help with the uniformity of assembly. The other thing I did is I made these two blocks. This angle here is roughly 116.5 degrees. It's not perfect because my chop saw is not great, but that's about as good as I could get. I'm going to use it as a reference. The shape of this globe is called a dodecahedron. It means it's a 12-sided regular cube, and the dihedral angle, which is the angle of intersection between two different planes, is 116.57 degrees roughly. So these I have rare earth magnets glued into to help hold those pieces up while I tack them, since I can't hold them at the right angle, tack them and move on. So let me get one of these angles set up with the spacers, and we'll start getting tacks on it. This one doesn't have any magnets. It's just sort of a backup. Now that I've got it tacked together, a few little, that's where I started. I wasn't quite right on my positions and then their settings. It's a little rough trying to hold everything in place with a few blocks of wood, but hey, all the sides meet. You can see I've got just a little bit of gap, but pretty good fit up. So now I'm just going to go ahead and stitch weld the inside of this half, and then I'll start on assembling the next pieces. And your best friend in this is knowledge of the way the earth is shaped, so you can put the continents where they go. It's not that hard. And this is why it's a weld practice kit. So I started getting hot, having more splatter, a little bit of issues. It seemed like it was trying to go into spray arc, which is not a good thing when you don't have the right gas, but some of these look decent for me. And I'll try some different positions on the next round, but got this together. On the inside welds, the outside welds are where you want to make it look pretty. That's why I'm doing so much stitch welding on the inside. You just get the good practice. So I think I'll try and let this cool, put together the rest of the parts, make sure the continents all line up. So there was more of a gap back here, which is why I did so many steps, back stepped it, and that way it keeps it from blowing out and keyholing and making a big mess. So that's why that was done in so many short steps, is so that it doesn't blow out on you. Okay, so now I just need to take a zip disc and notch these so I can bend them flat and then weld them out. This one, this one, this one. Oh, can't see that. one here, one here, one right here. This one needs to be notched, and then this one. So I'll just go ahead and nick those off camera, and then we'll start getting her final put together. Do all the welds on the outside. Okay, I've got all these little tabs ground down, bent into place. I just used some flat pliers, and some of them have some pretty thin connecting pieces that you got to brace with other pliers. Otherwise, you just torque the whole thing into a pretzel. But I think I'm ready to go ahead and weld these, and then I'll start on the outside seams, trying to make them look pretty. It's been fun trying out different methods of downhill and vertical and flat and all that, so it's a good fun project. Welding is done. Just need to hit it with a flat disc and clean up some of these surfaces and smooth out some of these welds, and then I'll be able to test fire it.
you want me to put more of these in there?
No, not yet.
Daddy, she wants you to help her.
Okay, Mama.
Hold it up. Can you help her hold
Is it any
up
good?
in South America, but don't
Yeah?
put it.
Okay.
Can you put it?